Missing someone, love with all your heart. Missing someone, love with heart.
What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. In this week's episode, I'm going to show you how I like to do a traditional dimensional brown on a lot of my clients. So this client of mine, she came in, this is going to be her second session going lighter. Before me, she had some previous color done and it was grown out and a lot of the ends of her hair were very warm. So we are trying to get her to be a little bit more ashier. You can see there's still a little bit warmth in between her last highlight appointment. So this highlight appointment, we are going to be working on trying to get rid of all of that warmth. So before doing the color, I did give her a really nice haircut just to kind of get the length off the bottom. And afterwards, after I do the color, I always finish my client's haircut at the end to kind of cater it to the color that I have done. So since this is my client's second session, I'm working on trying to get that warmth out of the ends to kind of get her a little bit more neutral, a little bit more ashy. I've already kind of detailed the hairline there. You can see I've just done one foil, but since she wants something more dimensional, very low maintenance, I want to keep in mind that I want to keep the dimension. So I don't want to overweave this back part. So I'm going in and I've only just detailed the hairline with one foil because again, she wants that dimension and depth. And honestly, when you leave a bit more depth within your highlights, those highlights that you're actually putting in the hair pop a bit more because it's again something that has contrast to it. So the dimension that I'm leaving in is going to make the highlights that I'm putting in really pop. So for her placement, I would say I am leaving a bit more negative space in between my highlights here. So I would say my sectioning, I would do 1/4 to 1/2 inch in between. And I am making my weaves a little bit on the thicker side because I really want those pops again. For my lightener, I'm just using the Blonde Me Schwarzkopf lightener, and that first bowl is a bowl of 6 and 20, and I mix that 1 to 2 with the developer, and then after a bowl of 6 and 20, I do just 20 volume for the rest of the head. So since this is the back and the underneath, I'm really trying to leave a bit more depth back here because it's going to be where her highlights are overlaying on top of. So when she curls her hair, if you leave a little bit more depth below the occipital or halo section of the head, it shows a lot more dimension and makes it so that it doesn't look like just one color. So it's really good if you're doing more of a dimensional look to not put in too many highlights back here. Also, as I'm highlighting the back here, I am trying to be a bit more intentional and trying to keep my weaves very clean so that the next time when she comes back in, I always ask my clients if they want to go lighter or if they want to just maintain it. So if they want to maintain the color and they've only waited, I would say about 3-4 months of regrowth, then I normally will pick up the pieces that I highlighted this appointment and just keep the same pattern. But if they've waited more than 4 months, or if they choose that they want to go a little bit lighter, what I'll do is I'll pick up the pieces that I didn't highlight this appointment to kind of give that effect to where it is a bit lighter, and so the highlights that I'm highlighting at that point is running through the mids and ends and creating that more solid effect on the ends. So this appointment, because she wanted to go a little bit lighter, I am picking up the highlights that I didn't highlight last time. So this is gonna get all that warmth that was on the ends that you saw from her previous color and get her to be a little bit more neutral, a little bit more ashier towards the ends of her hair. And again, just keeping those sections very clean so that next time it just makes it super easy for me to pick up wherever I left off last time, whether she wants to go lighter or darker. It's very easy for me to decide what needs to be weaved at that appointment. So if you've seen my other videos, you can see the sectioning. I just continue that center parting all the way up towards the mohawk, towards the hairline of the hair. And I will detail the hairline once I get about, I would say like 2 inches off the hairline. So for her money piece area, we're not going for something that's lighter than last time. We're just going to be doing the same highlighting and weave pattern. So for the front, you can see I'm just basically picking up what I did last time and just recreating that to maintain that same money piece. So later for my toner formulation, we're going to be pretty much doing what we did last time. So it's been about, I would say, like 10 to 12 weeks since we retouched her roots. And you can see how the toner has faded. I used a level 6 at the root. And then for the mids and ends, we did about a level 7 to kind of give her that nice medium brown look. And this is basically what this toner fades out to. I use the Pulp Bright Liquid Demis. So again, I'm going to be using that to tone her again, but it's going to be a little bit different since this is going to be a retouch. So the technique is slightly different, and I will explain that later because I don't have a full clip of how we applied it, but it's super easy and it's really my go-to toner if a client wants to be like a medium brown. Also, with my placement on the top here, you can see that my sectioning is a little bit closer together since this is going to be basically the top layer of her hair and it overlays on top of everything else. So since this is the top layer that lays over everything, this is normally where I like to really take my time and either detail this area, because I would say this, the money piece and this top portion of her hair, is probably the most important part, and also what she sees the most because it is overlaying everything else. So if you want her to feel like she has a lot of color, I would do this section very heavy and highlight it very close together or do slices. And then on the sides underneath it, that's where you can leave dimension. But if someone is going for something even more dimensional, you can leave in the dimension on here. But I always will change the parting of where this center parting is, or wherever this mohawk section is going to lay, according to where they part. So if she parted mostly on the side, like it was a pretty heavy side part, I would move it a little bit closer to her part, like her part line. But since this client, she just parts right in the middle, we're just gonna go in and just do like the center parting like I normally do. So moving on to the sides here, I'm going to detail the hairline, and I take a little section right off the hairline in the front, and I just like to weave that softly. And then after that section, I will do another weave and then start connecting the front and the back. So now you can see I'm connecting that front and the back here. So I just do like a normal size weave and another one back to back. And then after these two weaves, I'm going to be leaving a little bit more dimension. So like I said before, since this is going to be underneath that center parting that is more detailed, I'm going to leave more dimension here since we are doing more of a dimensional brown. And sometimes I do weave the sides a bit heavier than I am now, but since she's going for that more lived in low maintenance look, I am leaving enough dark here, and this is what's going to make the front hairline money piece pop more, is if you leave this back part right behind it a little bit more dimensional. So this is what her hair looked like when her foils were ready. We lifted her to about a level 8 and 9. And for her toner formulation, like I mentioned before, we used the Pulp Bright Liquid Demis, and then we did 6-0, which is a level 7 natural for the root shade, and then a 7-0 for the mids and ends, which is a level 7 natural for that color. And the way that we applied it is we did the root shade first and then applied on the mids second, let that sit for a few minutes, and then kind of brushed everything through and applied everything on the ends, and just let that sit for just a few more minutes before we rinse everything out. Alrighty guys, so here is the finished look. You can see how blended and dimensional this color is, and because of that root shade, these balayage highlights are going to grow out very seamlessly and very natural looking. This is going to be a very low maintenance dimensional brown look for you guys, and we didn't do too much of like a really heavy money piece because she wanted it to kind of just blend in with her natural hair. We gave her a really beautiful fresh haircut with some curtain bangs. Alrighty, that is it for this week's episode, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in, and I will talk to you guys next week.